Hello everyone, this is Tetrafolium, and I'm here today to talk about the use case for a DD Salamence on a special offense team. I think that it is sometimes important to have a good physical attacker on a special offense team, because it can be really tough to deal with Pokemon like Blissey, Snorlax, and Regice if you happen to roll into those. And I think that something like a DD WinCon Salamence can fit on this type of structure. Now, are there some other options you could do? Yeah, like a choice band Aerodactyl, that could be fine. Um, a Flygon maybe, that could maybe work. Since you probably don't have a spinner on this type of team, it's anything that's levitating and not taking spikes damage is really nice. It's also good to switch into ground type moves for some of your Pokemon like Jinx. But in any case, we're gonna start this one off. I have a lead Snorlax here, which is really uncommon. To me, that's probably gonna be a Curse Boom Snorlax. So I'm going to go to Salamence to lower its attack stat, and hopefully if I get another turn, I can get some big damage off on it. But the Snorlax wakes up immediately and gets a double edge off, which is pretty brutal. I'm gonna go to Jirachi now. If it doesn't have Earthquake, I can beat this, but it does have Earthquake, and it does a little more than I thought it would. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to take the Psychic and sack Jirachi here. I get a SpDef drop on Snorlax, which is really nice, but Gengar is it's threatening Will-O-Wisp or T-Bolt, which might 2-hit KO. I don't know. It might depend on the investment, but my opponent does not want to let Snorlax get burned, which might mean that it's not rest, or that my opponent really doesn't want to click rest for whatever reason. But they go to Regice, probably trying to absorb a Will-O-Wisp, but also it handles Thunderbolt quite well. I'll go to Celebi to take a Thunder Wave. That could have been dangerous if my opponent went for Ice Beam instead, but I wanted to make the aggressive switch to Celebi because I need to play. I'm a little bit down right now, so I need to play to get ahead. Which is why I'm going to go to Dugtrio on the Sleeping Snorlax. If it stays asleep for another turn, I might get an Earthquake kill, but it doesn't, and it goes for Double Edge, and that is twice that the Snorlax has woken up first turn, so, don't bank too much on sleep. I can go for HP Flying there, not Grass, into the Claydol. It's pretty good. It usually kills the Snorlax. Depends on if it's got extra HP and defense investment or not, but in any case, getting the chip on Claydol is nice. I've kind of talked over my whole Gengar getting destroyed by Regice, but I had to get some chip on this, and the crit, it was very fortunate, because now Salamence can come in and threaten to kill with something other than Rock Slide. So I can go for that, and I get a critical hit on Snorlax. Usually doesn't matter. In fact, if I low rolled and didn't get the crit, I would have got an extra turn of Leftovers recovery, which could matter, depending on what my opponent has. But Claydol is the switch, so I can go to Celebi, who eats the explosion. It's pretty good, but I'm kind of in a bad spot. I'll go to Salamence to Intimidate, and I catch the Dragon Dance there. That was really nice. A Rock Slide there would have been a lot of damage into my Mence for basically nothing, and it threatens to kill the Celebi, covers the switch to Jinx. So I don't know, maybe this was a little greedy on my opponent's part. I think I still ended up making the right play. I don't think there's... I maybe could have Leech Seeded with Celebi, then went to Jinx to sack, and then got Salamence in. That could have been a line, but instead I'm going to go for this, where I presume that my opponent is going to go for a Rock Slide into my Mence to keep up on damage. Instead they actually go for HP Flying, which is, I guess, fine as well. Doesn't do quite as much damage, but it's still threatening a 2-hit KO. Kills my Celebi off. Now I can go back to Salamence, and now that this opposing Mence is -1, I'm going to live a Rock Slide. In fact, I'll live 2 Rock Slides, so I can DD. My Mence is built to be faster than other DD Mences, so I feel like I'm faster and I can click Rock Slide, but I know that on a Snorlax Salamence structure, there is typically a Metagross, and I wanted to be able to threaten to one-shot any Metagross set with Earthquake, which Salamence should do from this position. This is kind of the reason why I think something like a Salamence is really good on a special offense team, because Metagross can be weirdly tough into your team, especially if you don't have Charizard or Moltres. Zapdos is also fine, but it's not perfect. Because Agility Metagross with Rock Slide or just a simple Boom could mess your Zapdos up. In any case, I do get the Earthquake kill on the Metagross. I could have went for Dragon Dance there, but I decided that Salamence is still in one-hit KO range if it's +1. So I might as well try to get a kill on this if it stays in. I don't necessarily need another boost to beat Regice, but my opponent does make a pretty smart play and to go and sack the Regice and then get Mence in. And now at this stage, if you're typical, if it's typical DD Salamence on typical DD Salamence, which mine is pretty close, I have slightly less HP EVs, there is a role for neutral Rock Slide to kill Salamence here, which could be disastrous, but my Jinx will be faster than pretty much every DD Salamence, as long as they don't get the DD off, and as long as I hit my Rock Slide, I guarantee that I will beat Salamence if it goes for DD, because I'm already at +2. So I'll go for Rock Slide, I hit it, and I get the flinch, and then the game's pretty much over. Don't know what my opponent has in the back, but it could just lose. At that stage, I probably could have just went for HP Flying and got the kill, but I was a little bit cognizant of what my opponent's last could be. That could be problematic. And Aerodactyl's one thing, I don't think Aerodactyl generally lives a Rock Slide from my particular Salamence set. Let me check. It might. Now, granted, HP Fly would do enough chip to get it there, but I think the idea is that if I'm gonna miss on a switch to Aerodactyl, if I'm gonna play for Rock Slide into Aerodactyl, I'd rather have 2 chances to hit it than 1. Now, granted, it could have been something like a Heracross in the back, which I mean would have been fine anyway. I would have just won. I would still have to hit the Rock Slide on opposing Salamence, but I should live one Rock Slide from it as well, so that's fine. And I think Heracross is, if I had to guess, Heracross is probably the most likely thing. I don't know. Maybe HP Fly was slightly better. Could be like a Suicune in the back, which could be problematic. I would have to go. I mean, that would suck, actually. I probably would lose in that case. But my opponent forfeited there, so I don't think they have Suicune. Probably should have Suicune to do like a blue mixed offense type deal. You just have Claydol instead of Magneton, and then I guess you opted to not have a Spiker and go for Regice, which is a cool team. I don't know if I like Regice plus Snorlax, though. To keep it a stack, I think I would probably switch the Snorlax for something else. But that's basically all I have to say there. You could definitely try other physical attackers for your special offense team. Salamance's not the only one. You could certainly go for Flygon. That's really good into Metagross. And Does a little bit of damage to Blissey, not a ton, but enough to maybe put it in range of Dugtrio, which could be nice. Aerodactyl's pretty good, and I think there are a few standard special offense teams that run Aerodactyl. I like that as well, because the special Pokemon punch holes into the physical checks, so that leaves Aerodactyl as a good cleaner in the end game. If it can get a solid double edge off, then on like a Swampert or something, then that's setting up for a win. Of course, Metagross is pretty tough into if you had Aerodactyl in the Salamence slot here. I mean, yes, Earthquake does a lot, but you're not going to OHKO, so you have to be locked into Earthquake instead. So Salamence kind of gives me a little bit more flexibility. That's why I like it for this particular team, but I encourage you to try some of your own things and let me know how it goes.